What's up, B2? Capital G here, checking out a brand new piece of Yosenju support that just got revealed. Looks like Yosenju are getting themselves a nice little bit of legacy support. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this is going to be the only piece of support. Usually when Konami wants to revitalize an archetype, for instance, like Neospatians and Savage Strike, or I guess like Super Quantums and Dark Neostorm, usually they'll give us a few cards all at once when they first are kind of revealing the cards, and then they'll give us the other support cards individually. The fact that they're just revealing one card here tells me that maybe it's just going to be one single piece of support, but I digress. Anyways, this is Yosenju Weasel Blade Win. It is a normal trap card and it's a hard once per turn. The effect says if you control no monsters, you can show your opponent up to 2 Yosenju monsters with different names from your hand, then target an equal number of face-up cards your opponent controls, return those cards to the hand. So this is essentially Yosenju comma 1, but it's during your opponent's turn, and I think it's a pretty good effect. Yosenjus have always had a little bit of a problem defending themselves. The fact that the monsters are never really on the field, they always bounce themselves back to your hand, has always been a little problematic. Then really the only benefit is running things, I guess, historically, like, you know, Drowning Mirror Force or Torrential Tribute, knowing that if you Torrential, you'll never have like a monster to be destroyed. But it means that Yosenjus never really have the ability to block attacks using their monsters for the most part, and that always has been a little problematic for the deck. This is a pretty good card. My one issue, like my one beef with this card, is honestly it really should have been a quick play. The reason that it should have been a quick play, and I know it goes back to that old axiom about, you know, every trap card should be a quick play, but no, this one really should, because if you think about Yosenju's going second, this would have been an excellent removal card for them going second, because then they could have just activated it, not having any monsters on the field before they summon, showing their opponent their, you know, Yosenju's in hand, and they would have been able to get rid of potential annoying floodgates, like there can only be one, which would be death for Yosenju's, or they could get rid of field spells at that point, they get rid of their opponent's monsters, etc., etc. Mainly, I think that this card will be used for bouncing your opponent's monsters, and actually, as Yosenju players have pointed out, this card is exceptionally good with Kaiju. Historically, Kaijus have always been really good in the Yosenju deck because you can Kaiju your opponent, then you can use Comma 1's effect, you can bounce the Kaiju back to your hand, and then you can Kaiju them again. Not only do you still have access to that play, but now with Weasel Blade Win, you don't really have to wait until your next turn to deal with the Kaiju you gave to your opponent. Instead of, you know, maybe them threatening you with an attack or them using the Kaiju for a link summon, you can simply bounce that Kaiju monster back to your hand, and then you have the potential of, I guess, Kaijuing your opponent like 5 times in 2 turns, which is honestly just kind of like absurd. That's a whole lot of Kaijuing and a whole lot of getting rid of their monsters. I definitely think that this is a card that I would run at 1 to 2 copies of. Yosenjus have, in my opinion, been searching for a good searchable defensive card. I never thought Secret Move was really all that great, not because it was a bad card, but because it kind of required you to run the pendulum scales if you wanted to use it during your opponent's turn, and that's just not viable in 2019. It wasn't even really that viable in 2015 when it came out. This should be the main defensive card that you're using in Yosenju's, or at least that you want to search from comma 3. So yeah, I would probably consider running maybe 1 to 2 copies of this, not 3 because it is a hard once per turn. Would not want to draw multiples of this card pretty much ever. But whatever you guys think of Yosenju Weasel Blade Win, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.